Today's episode is brought to you by Impact Dog Crates. It's the only dog crate guaranteed to last a lifetime. Side note, we are open to new sponsors. Drop a comment if you're interested. We'll leave a phone number as well if you want to give us a call. Hey everyone, Dylan here. Today's guest I'm super excited about. I've known him for about 15 years and worked for him for about 4 years now. My personal goal of this podcast today is to learn something new about him. Today we are sitting down with the CEO of Impact Dog Crates, Hunter Bailey. Welcome to the show, Hunter.
Appreciate it. Very honored and excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for showing up. Today I want to get started off with some of the background on you. So
wait, has it really been 15 years?
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay, I apologize. Continue.
No, yeah, you're good. I said, about 15 years. I don't know if it's exact. I think I met your brother around 2008, right around that timeline.
That's amazing.
But anyway, back to the show.
Yes, sir.
Little bit of background on you. Where'd you grow up? Have you moved around? Are you originally from this area? Where are we right now?
We're we're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Grew up here, born and raised. There's a hospital called the Big Blue Hospital. I don't know if it's blue anymore because it's not.
I was born there. Both my kids were born there.
Born in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Grew up here all my life. Spent a lot of my time in Hayden, Idaho, which is just about 5 minutes outside of Coeur d'Alene. Middle school or elementary school, middle school. Didn't go to college. High school. Didn't move around a lot. Been to a few different places, but always stuck home here. I don't think I'll ever leave. It's a beautiful place. We got found by COVID. So there's a lot many more people that have moved here, but so that's made our little town become a lot bigger. But no, I love it here. It's amazing. We get all 4 seasons, so that's a plus as long as you like the winter.
What season's your favorite if you get all 4 seasons?
Spring and fall.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I've already learned something new. I would have guessed summer.
Really?
100%.
I don't even like the lake.
So you mentioned you didn't go to college or anything like that. Did you do any school sports in high school?
I played baseball in high school. I ski raced back in the day when I was in middle school, and a little bit in high school, but kind of gave that up to focus a little bit more on baseball and just school. And ski racing is a lot of work. You're going to a lot of different mountains. You're really not going to school if you really want to compete at a high level. And so it just wasn't for me. So I stuck with baseball. Baseball was great. And then just kind of did that until it was over.
Gotcha. So you did baseball through high school, nothing past high school?
Nope, nothing past high school.
Fair enough.
Didn't have the grades for college.
For sure. Did you have the skills though?
I think if I worked as hard as I work currently at work, I could have done something else, but I was not a very hard worker back then. Okay,
that's fair. It's hard to be at that age. You got a lot of other stuff going on, a lot of distractions. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I don't think a lot of people know about them, but kendamas were a pretty big part of your life.
Yes, they were. Very big.
What's the face for?
I did not know you were going to say that, so I love it.
Okay, so for the listeners that don't know what it is, what is a kendama?
Kendama is a Japanese skill toy, a cup and ball toy, and it's very popular in Japan. It's still very popular here in the U.S., I would say, on a smaller niche level. And basically, you have a ball connected to a thing. Actually, Peyton, you want to grab a kendama?
He can also put one in right about just here.
There.
Yeah, he's going to put it right
Never mind.
Here.
Yeah, we'll do that, Peyton. That's exactly what it looks like. And basically your goal is to basically balance, do tricks with it, a lot of different things. I'm sure if Peyton wants you, he can go back in the archives and find an edit of me doing it and put a little clip up there so you guys can laugh at that.
Not laugh. It'll be good stuff.
Enjoy it. I was very good at it back then. Now the kids are crazy.
Yeah. No, you're still pretty good at it. Maybe we'll have to throw a little bit of extra, current stuff in there too.
For sure.
So with that, how did you find the kendamas? Like what made you come across those or made you get into that?
Yeah, one of my old kind of childhood friends had one at the ski hill up at Schweitzer, and I saw it and I was like, what the heck is that? And wanted to play it. He had his, and he's like, no, get your own. So funny story, I went to this kind of Sylvan Learning Center. You got like chips or coins, and then you could, buy things at their things if you accomplish different things. And so one of the things that I did when I got enough coins was I cashed that in for a Visa gift card for $25.
Okay. And
then figured out how to use that to then buy the kendama on a website called Kendama USA. And then that's how I got my first kendama. And that was back a long time ago.
Okay. Now the crazy thing is I bought a kendama from you.
You did.
So what got you into selling the kendamas? Because you were the guy in high school that had like a backpack full of them.
I would, yeah.
So run me through that. What was the process like of ordering? I don't even know how many you got. So tell me how many you got at one time, what the process was like, how long it took to get them, and then kind of like what the profits were on stuff like that.
Yeah, back then, I think I emailed Kendama USA. I was like, hey, can I buy wholesale? And my dad had always come from, I guess, an entrepreneurial background. And so I think that's kind of what pushed me to ask that question, can I buy it wholesale? And so I went kind of back and forth. I think I was able to get 20 or 30. I think they were selling for $25 or $30 online. And I think I was able to get them for around $10 maybe.
Okay.
And it was basically just to make extra money. Mm-hmm. Back then, around 2008, my dad's company was going through a bit of a financial crisis, probably like every other company was during 2008 to 2013. And so there wasn't much money to go around.
Sure.
And so I was like, well, if I can make some extra money, I can,
have my
own money, and I can get Little Caesars pizza at school.
That's fair.
Yeah, that was the good stuff back then, and an Arizona iced tea.
Okay. So it was Little Caesars pizza and an Arizona iced tea.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
In the Freedom.
So did you sell them just at school? Did you create anything like on social media or online or anything like that? Or
I sold them at school first, and then over time as Kendama grew and I was in little groups here, little groups there, Facebook, got a Facebook, things like that. And then it kind of grew to being able to sell, certain ones. I remember these Mugen kendamas that were a lot of money, still are to this day, but I was able to, buy some of those from people in Japan, resell them to people. So then I made more money off doing that than I did just selling the individual ones on a per unit basis.
That's fair. What was it like contacting people from Japan and purchasing from them?
I would literally sit up as much as I could, whenever I could, and just I would type in kendama or something, or go to mutual friends of people who I knew were in Japan that played kendama, and I would just say, hey, do you have any Mugen kendamas for sale? And I would just message hundreds of people.
So you're doing that all through Facebook?
All through Facebook.
That's crazy. And then I know you got into some competitions as well. What were those like?
Fast pace, your heart would beat out of your chest, and because I wanted to win, and so it was kind of like basically Ken or different things, but Ken is like another form of pig, like basketball. So they maybe pull a trick out of a hat or whatnot. You to do a certain trick, and if you could lace those tricks, then and before the other person did, or you try, you missed it, and then I try, I got it. Well, then you got okay.
Lace the trick. That's like the land the trick. Lace it. Okay,
100%.
So some kendama knowledge there.
Some lingo right there. I still got it
for sure. What was the biggest competition you won?
I don't remember.
My
first most memorable one was in Aberdeen, Washington.
Okay.
My dad was like, you're not going to Aberdeen, Washington with a bunch of strangers. Convinced him to let me go, and somehow I won and got a bunch of free stuff. It was a very cool and fun experience.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. What made you stop selling those?
Well, my goal during high school was like, it'd be really cool to have a company, but there are already some companies that did that, and I was young and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but my dad's company it was like a 4-year, hard 4 years from 2008 to 2012. And then when I graduated in 2013, things were you could kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but not quite yet.
Kind of turning the corner.
It was a war of attrition, I guess you could call it. And so when I graduated high school, I have no clue what I was doing. Definitely didn't get to go to college.
Next two of us.
Probably could have, but there was no point. And I just started working for my dad. I'd gotten in some trouble and basically had to work. And luckily my dad was able to basically say, hey, I'll give you a job as long as you respect it. And I think I've always worked here for my entire life from when I was 12 to now. And that was one thing I always took very, very seriously. My dad always taught me respect adults, things like that. And I took that to heart, especially when I was working here. And so I just started working here, and then all of a sudden 6 months go by, and one of my dad's vice president at the time, Dan Scholl, he said, hey, do you want to be the shipper? Our shipper had left, and then I started to get more and more responsibility as kind of time went on. And then one thing just led to another.
Easy. We're getting into all of this. All right. So needless to say, you stopped selling them because other people already were.
Exactly.
You weren't going to school or anything.
I wasn't going to school.
And then it made the most sense to start working for your dad.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to interrupt the podcast. Remind everybody that it's sponsored by Impact Dog Crates.
Impact Dog Crates.
It's the only dog crate that does not suck and is guaranteed to last a lifetime. Okay, back to the show.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk present day hunter.
Yes.
So what does present day look like for you? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you live in town? Do you live out of town?
Well, this is my puppy, Hermes.
How old is Hermes?
He is almost 1 year old in November 8th. Funny enough, Cohen, Jet, my
nephew,
same birthday.
No kidding.
Gosh, now I hope I got it right. I know it's the same birthday, but now I'm forgetting if it's actually November 8th. Perfect. And then my fiance, Alex, who not here right now, but my fiance, Alex.
How'd you guys meet?
She worked for my older brother.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Does she still work for your older brother?
No.
Okay, fair enough. When are you guys getting married?
Next year.
Very cool. Do you guys have all that planned out or still working out the details?
It changed this week, so who knows?
Still working out the details.
Yep. Definitely next year, but yeah, we changed it now.
Got it.
You probably don't even know that.
Nope, but I do now.
Fantastic.
Good to know. Well, my next thing on here was going to be if you had any prior work experience, if you have ever gotten any like MLMs or anything like that.
Nope, I have not.
Fair enough. I think probably is a good time now to get into some of the business talk.
Absolutely.
So what was it like? I know you kind of started touching on it a bit, but so what was it like when you first started working for Michael, your father, and like how were you treated by other employees being the owner's son?
It's really different, especially because I was so young. So there was I really had to think about it, and it was something I really took seriously from the first point, because I knew that I wasn't going to get respect. I knew that people didn't really.
You kind of knew going into it, you were the owner's son, and so you were going to be treated like the owner's son.
Absolutely, and when I was that young, and showing up to work, my goal was basically to outwork everybody and not
have special treatment.
Not have special treatment, but also if someone was going to say, "Oh, he didn't work for his stuff," I'd rather show them by actions that he did.
Got it.
And I do.
So you basically didn't give anybody the option to play on that.
Nope. I worked there every day. I didn't take a vacation until like the last couple of years when I got older. I'm 25, or when I was 25, I think I started to finally be able to take some stuff.
6-7 years later.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was an awesome way of learning everything in the business, but really had to put my money where my mouth is and go, I can do it. I'll learn. I'll try to figure it out. I'll do whatever it takes. And I was able to really accomplish that.
That's awesome. Now, I know you said in the beginning, you like 6 months later, you started shipping, but what was your true first position? What did you do like day one up till you became that shipper?
Well, day one, when I was 12, my dad would make me vacuum cracks in the warehouse.
Cracks like in the cement floor?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. And with a little shop vac, and I'd be pushing. Yeah, I'd be doing it in the cracks on the concrete, and then it slowly graduated to like coring. We used to make heaters, so I would take foam and put the adhesive around the foam around around the automotive core, and then I would put those in the little heater units.
So you're building heaters at like 13, 14 years old?
Oh yeah. And then when I got hired as full-time after high school, it was just a regular general assembler. So somebody who would build, at that point, gun cases or military cases or heaters, or package them or do whatever. From now here, it would be like final assembly or pre-assembly or packaging, things like that.
Go into that a little bit more. What was the business like back when you basically came, you graduated high school, you came on full time. What was your dad's business like at that time? Like as far as the gun cases, the heaters, stuff like that. What did that look like?
It was a lot. We had 3 different businesses, really. Dog crates weren't a thing at all. It was Heatercraft, which Dan Scholl owns now. But Heatercraft is basically the marine industry, the UTV industry. We basically made heaters for water boats like Malibu, Mastercraft, Correctcraft, those types of companies, and then other UTV companies like Yamaha, Honda, people that use those types of machines. And that was that side of the business. Then the other side was the military cases, or custom aluminum cases, so a whole bunch of different things. So case for a company that held satellite equipment, or a case that would hold missiles, or a case that would hold saws for first responder deployments of like these big, I think Jaws of Life, or like that stuff to help open up cars. But it was in these big cases, to cases for the military that they wouldn't tell us what to do with, that they did with.
So were you guys working on like military contracts then at that time?
Yep. Yeah, there was quite a few small and larger military contracts, but the thing that was harder back then was everything was custom. It was everything was changing. There wasn't a flow. Everything was different. And so the one thing I saw was there were so many different moving parts in every direction that it was hard to focus on one thing, because we were doing this or we were doing that.
Yeah,
and
so many different things going on. It's like, okay, how do we dial one thing in? But there's so many things going on.
Exactly. What do we focus on? What do we want to grow this year or this month? And how do we want to grow it? But when we take all of it, it's a lot harder. At least it was for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure.
It
sounds
younger.
like a lot going on. As far as like the heater stuff goes, were you guys working like direct with manufacturers, or were you selling retail? What did that look like?
Yeah, almost all of that business was to the OEMs. So we would basically build a heater or a unit for their machine, and then they would then buy that machine directly from us. We did a little retail stuff, but it was never at the scale of what we are doing now.
Wasn't like the bulk of the business then?
Not at all. Yeah, it was probably less than a few percent.
Gotcha. Is there anything you missed from doing the heaters or the gun cases or anything like that?
I think I missed the challenge when I was younger. Now there are different challenges, so maybe I don't miss it, but it's cool to look back and go, all those things that we did do and we were able to do them, even though at the time it was a lot. It was hard. It didn't make any sense. We were constantly redoing things, but at the end of the day, we always were somehow able to figure it out, which is
basically
amazing.
Always evolving.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I want to get a little bit more into Impact Dog Crates now.
Yeah.
Where did the idea of Impact Dog Crates come from? Like the product itself, the name, kind of the whole idea.
Definitely. So over the years, my dad's been in business for about 34. I think this year will be 35 years in December. He would buy, companies here, little companies there, and it, we would do different things, or we would buy maybe market share customers or things like that, and on a massive level, but on a big level for us at the time. And so one of the companies that we purchased with in a transaction came with this dog crate, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. I don't think my dad did either, but we have a passion for making really, really good products. And so what we did was we had this dog crate. I think I was maybe 2011 or 12 when we maybe first got it.
Kind of the first rendering.
Yep, first rendering. And we kind of put our own spin onto it. There was a lot of trial and error. A lot of different people helped. We put our corners on it, the same corners that we would put on military cases, the handles that we would put on military handles or military cases.
You guys made tweaks to it like right from the very, very beginning.
Absolutely. Yep. Kind of just made it how we would want to make it.
Yeah.
And and how we would want it to look and maybe function and be strong, because we knew a little bit of what we were doing from the military case side, and we knew a lot from what they wanted and how
quality of what they wanted.
Exactly. And so we did that and slowly innovated on the dog crate. And when I graduated in 2013, it looks very similar to what it is now. We've made a lot of internal and tweaks and things to make it better over the last 9 years now. But yeah, it was kind of, I don't want to say an afterthought, but we didn't know what we were doing at all, and we didn't know about direct to consumer. We didn't know we could even sell a dog crate. We had no idea. Because
you guys were so used to doing like military contracts, things like that.
Exactly.
You weren't doing very much retail, like you mentioned.
Nothing.
What was it like, kind of taking a little step back, when you guys you mentioned you guys had 3 companies. What was it like to add basically a fourth, maybe company or product in at that time? Was it just more chaos, or? It
was definitely more chaos, but at the time it was unknown chaos, so we didn't know what we were doing. We added basically a product at that point, and started selling it to dealers, because that's how we thought we needed to do it with like we did the heater business, and that's kind of how we started to sell it, and then it kind of took off from there, because I do think when we make a product, we put our heart and soul into it, and we made a really good product. So when people got it, they loved it, and then they started talking about it. Other people wanted to sell
Friends that wanted them,
exactly,
and kind of so on and so forth. That's very cool. Recently, was it 3 years ago we moved to this building?
Yes, about 3 years.
So I kind of want to talk about that transition a little bit. So first, what is the biggest differences from, I guess maybe we'll even back up a little bit from there. How long did you guys spend in that building? And then what are the biggest differences between that building and where we're at now? Yep.
Yeah. I think my dad bought the first building, which was not what it was, in about, I think, the year 2000. It was a small, I want to say, I think he's like 10,000 square feet. And over time he added on to that building. And then the other, maybe I think he bought the land first, and then we built the first building that was around 10,000 square feet. Added on to it, and then as the business continued to grow and we needed more space, the lot was pretty big. So then we built another building. Strategically, not the best place to build the second building, because it was kind of like one building was here, another building was here, and then there was a parking lot in between. So, as we grew and as things got bigger and as we added more equipment and more processes like powder coating and final assembly and things like that, half of the manufacturing would be in one building and the other half would be in the other building.
So you're dragging stuff from one side to the other.
Especially in the wintertime when it's very challenging with the snow and that. So
especially if you're trying to use like a forklift or a pallet jack or anything.
Yeah, forklift's not built for the snow, or at least the forklifts we use.
Yeah, they're meant to be inside, really.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So what was the process like in searching for a new building? At what point did you and Michael, or maybe it was just Michael, or maybe it was just you, I'm not sure, realize, okay, if we want to go to the next level with the business, this building's not going to cut it. Like, exactly. we need something bigger. What did that whole process look like, and what time frame did that look like as well?
A lot of conversations around it. I think it got to a point, 2019. Gosh, it's blending together. 2019, we moved in, and that was right before COVID. Yep, that makes sense. So yeah, about 2017 to 18, we had started to kind of figure out that, hey, we definitely want to build dog crates. We want to be really good at it. We want to have our own website. We want to kind of control all of the aspects of our business, even though we don't know how to do that when it comes to social, website, things like that. And so it was just a lot of trial and error, and then we got to a point where we could definitely see the value of a bigger building for more efficiency. If we could cut down on efficiency, we could hire more people to then build more dog crates. And so it was not an overnight thing. There's not a lot of buildings back then of this size. I still don't even think there is in our town. So it's not like you can call your your local commercial realtor and go, hey, this, that. It's a lot of in who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, my dad was able to know who built this building, kind of the story behind it. We had kind of kept our eyes on it. It was built brand new and then kind of sat vacant for a year. But my dad had known the owner and kept in conversations with him. And then, as it kind of happened in that 2018 stage, where since we've been in that building for so long and the track record of the business and how we kind of we were doing great. 2008 hit. Had an attrition where we had to figure some things out, and then
but still kept going.
Yep, still kept going, and then 2013, 14, 15 kind of found a stride of, hey, we're making money, everything's kind of good, but now we kind of are in a maybe position to grow and let's try it, and it just all of a sudden made sense.
Yeah,
there wasn't like strong conversation. We're like, oh, we got to do this now. It was like
everything just kind of just started lining out together, and everything worked out together.
Exactly.
That's awesome. What was your thoughts going through your mind after like the dotted line had been signed? Everything's finalized, like, because it sounds like it's probably in talk for 10, 12 months maybe. So like, all of this build up and then like, okay, it's signed for. What's going through your mind at that point?
How in the fuck are we going to move and still make shit? Honestly.
Yeah.
That was it. Because at that point we were...
So and basically what you're saying is, how are we going to continue to manufacture everything? Because everything's made in-house.
Yeah.
And move everything and get it all set up.
Exactly.
Because, if you look at, and we'll have Peyton put some manufacturing clips up, our machines aren't small. You don't throw them in the back of your pickup truck or rent a U-Haul.
Nope.
Like I remember we'll have to find some footage of the crane that was bringing in.
Oh yeah, I have some photos.
Yeah. So we'll have to have him put those in wherever
Definitely.
they go. But that makes sense. Basically, like, okay, great, we have it, but how are we going to keep building? Because we're continuing to sell.
The website doesn't turn off.
Yeah.
So that was you're 100% right. It's just like, what? Yeah, how are we going to not turn the website off? Because we still have to make money because we're not a massive company. We can't just turn everything off and for a month and move.
Just take a cut.
Just take a cut and be fine. We still have to, pay for a whole bunch of things. And I don't know, we did it, but it was not without a lot of work and a lot of stress, going back and forth, all kinds of stuff.
So let's dive into that just a little bit more. So what was the timeline of the move? Did all the manufacturing stuff get moved at once, or were you at both buildings? When the machines did get moved, was it like just perfect? What was that like?
We signed on the building around March 10th, let's say. So beginning of March, beginning of March, because that's when we officially got it. There's a picture of me. I'll put a picture of me in the empty building of what it is now. And we weren't fully moved in until the end of July.
So hang on. So March, April, May, June, July. So it was a 5-month move.
A 5-month move, yeah.
We don't have to go into super big detail, but what was that like, and how did the manufacturing continue, or did it slow down? What was that process?
We basically had to. It continued, but we had to kind of do things we had make things at the first building first. The way we set it up was what can we move first? That's the easiest. Well, pre-assembly or final assembly after paint, basically. So we moved all of that within the first kind of 2 weeks. So we moved everything after powder coating over to the new building.
All the packaging, shipping process,
everything.
All that stuff was here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so what we would do is we would manufacture everything and paint everything in the old building, and then we would take our box van, load it up, and drive it to our new building. Up until we had to officially move all the equipment. And a part of that was too, we invested into a new powder coating facility. So that was also being kind of built and installed during those 5 months as well. There's 2 garage doors. Go through the first one. Beautiful vinyl blue garage doors will open up. There's a conveyor system that does basically a loop between, or a loop in the kind of rectangle. And so first part is you'd hang a part and it'll slowly go through. There's then a washing station where we have guys in there washing the aluminum to make sure it's clean. It'll then come down into the oven. That way it'll bake off all of the impurities, all of the water. So it'll be basically ready to go to paint. After it comes out of out of that part in the oven. It'll make a little loop around. And it will then go into the powder coating booth, which is a 2-man booth. So we have basically two people in there at all times when we're painting crates, who will then paint the crate. There's a system that we have, and then as that goes through, after they're done painting, it'll come out of the powder coating booth and then back around into the oven, and then it'll do a little U-turn in the oven. So it'll go down the oven and then all the way back out the oven. And once it's out the oven, then the powder is cured and is it's very hot, but
so it basically makes 2 passes in the oven.
Yep.
What temperature does the oven sit at?
Around 400 degrees.
Okay. So you're telling me the oven is big enough to have our crates go through it?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Not super big, but big.
Okay. So then after that was being done, what was the process like in that move and as far as getting everything set up here?
So that part was actually fairly simple because it was all new equipment, warranty.
People out setting it up for us. Super simple. Basically just had to kind of wait for them to get it done. The harder part came when we went to go move our punch laser combo, and that thing you have to completely disassemble it. Then the cranes have to come in, pick it up. Cranes?
Cranes come in and pick it up. Move it maybe 10 minutes away. That's how far we moved from our old building. And then reassemble it here at this building, but with machines. And anybody who's dealt with machines know that, especially an older machine at that point, is maybe 15 to 20 years old. Mm-hmm. Setting that up is not difficult, but it is a trial and error portion.
It's not necessarily meant to come apart, move, and be put back together very frequently.
Not at all.
Not nearly as convenient as our collapsible dog crates.
Not at all. I mean, you're talking extremely convenient on that one. Very, very convenient.
So did they get it over here set up and start running again, or?
Oh, no. Got it over here. Set it up. It took about 2 weeks to set up. So it's about 2 weeks.
Of no material being ran.
No crates being built. Very stressful. And basically you just have to have hopefully a great engineer and people that do that to disassemble it and reassemble it, and then just cross your fingers and pray to God that it works in a timely fashion. But it's never perfect, so there's always something that goes wrong, something breaks.
How long was it down for?
I want to say it was down for 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time to not be running any material.
We tried to prepare for that as much. We punched a whole bunch to be down for maybe 2 to 3 weeks,
gotcha.
But not the amount of time we were.
So it wasn't as bad of a hit as it could have been if you guys wouldn't have planned correctly.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of planning and logistics, which the team was amazing at.
Cool. What was the first year like in the building? Take away from all that setup, but what was that transition like, going from having 2 separate buildings where you're taking everything from half of one building, moving it over to the other building, versus having everything in one location?
It was amazing. I mean, besides the move, which is, if anybody's moved a manufacturing facility knows how uncomfortable that is.
Yeah.
Besides that, once you're in your new facility, it's amazing. Especially, not having to go outside in the wintertime and move painted final crates into final. Things got a lot more efficient. Powder coating was amazing. We were able to really finally dial that into now we may have to invest in a bigger facility because we want to produce more crates.
On the powder coating note,
yeah.
Give me a brief description of what powder coating looked like at the original building versus what it looks like today.
Very barbaric. We had these two booths, and we would have these kind of
like scaffolding
that we would hang the crates on, and then we would push them in and out of the booth, paint them. I say barbaric because it wasn't the easiest on our employees' bodies. It wasn't the most efficient. It was very clunky. So you'd have to push in this big kind of cart scaffolding thing, kind of have 2 guys help put the crate on this thing, powder coat it, then take it off, and then we had a tiny oven. We were only able to do maybe maybe 5 to 10 crates an hour.
How many do you think we're doing an hour now?
I can't disclose that information.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, back then that was not a lot. And that was if all of our equipment worked like it should.
Mm-hmm. It's a perfect world. You're getting
perfect world.
Maybe 5 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So that first year, any other thoughts on the first year being here, as far as obviously everything you said was way more efficient being in one place. Once the move was done, everything was amazing. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
I think it was an amazing accomplishment for especially my father and I, and for a lot of people here. It was something that we'd always dreamed about. We wanted to elevate who we are, who our company was. And in order to do that, moving was one of the ways we thought that we could do that with. And, it was, before that, we were like, man, it'd be great to get out of this, older building. My dad's a neat freak. So even though it was an older building, it was kept immaculate condition, but it was just really elevating the business, elevating the brand, elevating the people, and trying to get to that next level. And then to be able to actually do it was huge. It was
probably felt a lot more like home too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I never want to leave here.
So what is your favorite part of the manufacturing process? Just manufacturing floor itself, nothing to do with the office, the sales, website, anything like that, just manufacturing itself. What is your favorite part?
I love the progress. So the one thing that I did when I was younger was I loved the fact that I could come in the morning and, we had XYZ to do, and then we were able to accomplish at the end of the day. So, I love being able to see, things move into move into powder coating. I love to see that. What can we do in a
different
day?
Crates in different areas each time.
Yeah, moving, how we can, do that better, but really just seeing that there's, it doesn't just sit still.
Yeah. That makes sense. Kind of one of my last things I wanted to talk about as far as the manufacturing goes. What has it been like this year to date? Now that the moves happened, had a few years, kind of figured everything out. What does 2022 look like from a manufacturing standpoint for Impact Dog Crates?
Definitely. I think with going through COVID and then this year, we've been able to really kind of narrow and dial in the production to where, I don't actually have to worry about it anymore. I know that, as long as we can get the right people and we have the parts, things are going to go out. And so really just dialing it in. I think it took us about 2.5 to 3 years to do that. But now it is something that, we know the formula, we know what we need to do. And there's not too many what if questions anymore. It's just a matter of what do we need in order to
what it takes.
X. Yeah.
That makes sense. Let's switch up gears a little bit and let's get into some of the e-commerce portion of the business.
For sure.
I know it's a big part of what you are really passionate about. I just want to start with, what made you gravitate towards that direction, and at what point did that start happening for you?
I think after around 2015, 16, when we were trying to figure out, okay, how do we not rely on all these other businesses and military contracts and other people's products. And then we were doing a lot on Amazon too. We didn't really control anything. And so being able to
super reliant on everybody else.
Exactly. We didn't necessarily build a brand. We built products or other people's products that then they sold, and they had all the control. And so we were able to really kind of hone in on how can we at least, we may not be the best at it, but I'd rather make my own decisions and fail ourselves than have a company that we have no control over, not put a PO in, and then we're losing money that month because we don't have any control.
That makes sense. What was it like convincing Michael, your father, at first that that was kind of the direction of the way that the business needed to go, or was that kind of a joint conversation, or was it run me through what that was like?
Yeah, when I was in that stage, when I was in early 20s and early stages of trying to figure this out, it was a lot of conversations because I had nothing going on, so I would work and then I would go to dinner with my mom and dad. And all I wanted to talk about was work. because I was like, well,
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. But I was like, what can we do? What's next? What do we do? How do we get?
So you're always pushing.
Yeah, I was like, what are we going to do to then get to that next level, or what are we going to sell next, or how do we sell more of X, or what do we do? And then it was really a joint conversation, but of me just I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I was like, I got this. So let's figure it out. And so I don't know how it really happened, but we basically just started to just go, oh well, I guess so. We were back in that era. Drop shipping was very big, which I'm not a super huge fan of drop shipping. I think they've made a really bad rep for actual brands in e-commerce because you don't know if you're going to get some stuff from certain websites because it looks shady or whatnot. And so we were doing a lot of that. We had probably around 30 to 40 drop shippers. And I think that's when it clicked. We were like, wow, all of these companies are just selling them on their own website. Why can't we do the same thing?
Yeah, just bring it to your own website. They're not making the product. They're not stocking the product.
Nope.
The only thing they're literally doing is having the option to purchase the product.
Exactly. And then we would still deal with the customer service. We would still deal with the angry customers. We would still deal with all of the problems that came with
and they were
doing
taking
that.
a piece of the pie.
Exactly. Why not do it ourselves? And so I think that's really when it clicked. And then we were like, well, let's start this journey.
That makes sense. How did you figure out where to start with the e-commerce portion of that? Like what was it like going, okay, we realize now we don't want to continue with drop shippers.
Yep.
I'm sure there was a transitional period. You don't just, cut it off, but
yeah, exactly.
What was it like to go, okay, so we need to build a website now?
Mm-hmm.
And how did that transformation happen?
A lot of just trying to figure it out and just do different things. Like there's no playbook. I didn't know playbook. There's nothing. It's just kind of like, okay, we know we need a website. So how do you build a website? Well, first we were on Ecommerce and then we switched to Shopify and that was a bit more user friendly back then. And then it was just, okay, I think we found the foundation, which is Shopify. And then how do we build around it? And then how do we get customers? And then that was I'll let Michael tell this. You'll ask, I know he'll have to do this, but you'll have to tell him about the Facebook advertising portion. We'll maybe skip that because he tells a really great story about that.
We'll note it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. But then, Facebook advertising, that type of stuff to then get people in the website and then just figuring it out. What happens if you do this? What happens if you do that? And slowly but surely we were able to hopefully do some things right. And here we are today.
That's awesome. What did that very first website look like compared to what our website looks like today?
Not very good. I would say it was very basic. Things were probably not put in the right places. Not a lot of information on it. More or less just slap it up there. My dad was always like, throw it up on the website. Let's sell it. So that's what we would do. And then
just throw stuff up on the website.
And get it out there. So, but then there became more of a process. There's a lot to it than just throw it up on the website. And then that's where we had to get smarter, learn. It's a lot different than selling. My dad would go to trade shows and sell, belly to belly, that type of business versus this is way different. And I think I was able to.
Belly to belly.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I was able to take what I learned, I think, in Kendama, and then I didn't learn, all this stuff, but I was able to learn maybe the
ideas.
The ideas and the how to, use Facebook and Instagram and things like that to then do it for ourselves.
To benefit.
At least to start. And then it got to a point where needed lots of help and things like that.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me to my next question. And maybe you're going to push this off to Michael, but at what point did it make sense to hire an ad agency and what was that like? And we don't have to disclose, obviously numbers, names, anything like that, but what was that transition like?
From the beginning, at least when it came to spending money on Facebook and stuff, we wanted to at least surround ourselves with people who kind of knew what they were doing or had done it before and looked at, okay, they took this brand and they're spending maybe $10,000 a month on it and they're getting a solid return. Back then, a lot smaller numbers. And so it was kind of like, we were really, really good at manufacturing stuff back then, not so much on the digital or e-commerce or anything like that. So we looked for a lot of help and a lot of different companies were able to able to help us and learn. I learned a lot from different companies and different individuals to figure it out and see what works, what doesn't work.
Was it a lot of that just cold emailing, cold calling, just asking for advice, or did you guys hire a lot of different people for advice, or kind of pay for advice, or?
It was like a lot of cold emails, a lot of this guy knows this guy. Okay, I'll talk to that guy.
Yeah. See what his thoughts are anyway.
Mm-hmm. See what he has to say, and then it kind of just happened to where there was a local advertising agency that we were able to do business with, and they helped us kind of kickstart and really do it for the first couple of years.
Okay.
And then we didn't know what we were doing, but we at least had an idea of the pieces that we needed.
And probably by that point too, if you did it for a few years, you kind of had, okay, this works, this kind of works, that's not so much. Yeah,
exactly.
That makes sense. I asked you the same question about manufacturing. What's your favorite part about the e-commerce portion of the business?
I love the website and being able to kind of control your own destiny and have it work for you. So if we can go to bed at night and wake up with some orders because of the stuff that we did during the day, and the content or the things or the ads that we're doing, it's much more 24/7, and it's much more reliable than people who are going out and selling things or trying to do that. You just have so much more control. Mm-hmm. Now, not to say that wholesale things aren't a massive part to our business or other people's business. They're obviously huge parts, but when it comes to the website and that, I love being able to change things, do things, and see instant results, not so much results, and then just the freedom and flexibility.
Yeah, and the fact that it's open 24/7.
24/7. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. What is something you wish you could change about the e-commerce portion of the business? If there's like one little thing, what is it that you would change?
I think it would be the way that our brand looks. I still feel like I want to elevate it a little bit and make it so that it is, it's more refined. I think that we're not a massive team. We don't have all these developers or designers, not a lot of people. So I really would love to have it be, come together and be refined. I think would be my most thing that I think about.
Yeah.
Which we're actively working on.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to see that we're not a massive team, because I think a lot of people have this thought that, based on the content and things like that, an outsider looking in, that we're some massive company. And I think, in one conversation, we do like to feel like that. And then in another conversation, it's like, we're really not. No, it's like there's not that many of us here.
Nope.
So it's pretty crazy. I want to ask you if for somebody getting started with getting into the e-commerce, is there anything you would recommend?
Drop shipping. No, I'm kidding. But no, it is a great way to kind of learn how to do Facebook ads, learn about a website, things like that. If you do it the right way. But then I think as you grow, then you develop a brand that you really want to do, and put your heart and soul. Because if you're building a dropship brand or something like that, then you're not. If you can't buy that product, your website's gone.
Yeah. So you're moving on to the next one.
You're moving on to the next one. So
or they can cut you off.
Exactly. So definitely pick something you love and then try it. But it's very low risk, high reward. Today's day and age, it's probably a lot harder to do it now than it was.
Just because so many people are doing it.
So many people are doing it. iOS 14 and a half, all of these updates, all these things. It's just made it a lot more stickier. But just if it's something you want to do, stick with it. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Wrapping up on the e-commerce end of the business and things like that, is there anything else you want to throw in there?
This podcast is sponsored by ImpactDogCrates.com, the only dog crate that does not suck and is guaranteed to last a lifetime. We have some very, very exciting things coming in the future. Please go to our website. I can't wait to share it with you guys.
What was the website one more time?
ImpactDogCrates.com.
I want to talk just as a company as a whole.
For sure.
Can you give me, whether it's detailed, brief, up to you, a comparison of where the company was overall 3 years ago, and where you see the company being, I guess, compare the company 3 years ago from today, and then where you see it being in 3 years from now?
Mm-hmm. The company 3 years ago to where it is now is, I would say, 10 times different. We used to do heater craft. We used to do the gun cases and the military cases. We were still doing the military cases, but before we moved into this building, and my uncle now does those. And we transitioned that when we moved into this building right around that time. And then we still did heater craft up until the end of last year, 2021. And now Mr. Scholl, he's taken over heater craft. And those are now all moved out of our one facility here in Hayden, Idaho. And so...
And real quick, Mr. Scholl, Dan Scholl,
yes.
He was
my our president here for a long time, and one of my dad's childhood friends, my uncle's, one of his best friends. That they grew up on like the same street, way back in the day in Spokane.
So that's awesome. So
yeah,
long time, obviously friend of the family, friends, yeah. And then long time employee. Purchased that company from your father.
Definitely.
Cool. Sorry, continue.
Thank you. And yeah, the difference, that's a massive difference. So we're now really focused on one thing, which is impact dog crates. And now the goal is to really dig in and get really good at manufacturing our dog crates, changing them so that they're even better than they were last year and this year, and then really trying to get our name out there, because I do think that people have no idea who we are, and it's a cool story. It's a cool brand, and we're really just getting started, even though my dad started this 34 years ago.
Is the company still family owned?
100%, yeah.
So still family owned business.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep. My dad comes in here almost every day to give us a hard time.
He's here today?
I know.
Yeah. He's ruthless, but
he is.
Hey, that's who he is, and we appreciate it.
We love him.
Why does your face turn red when we talk about him?
Because he's my idol, man. I love him.
Aww. We're not cutting that.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Okay. Where do you think the company will be in 3 years? Where would you like to see the company be in 3 years? Maybe is a better way to ask that.
In 3 years, I'd love to see the company be a household name and be able to, basically if somebody were to go buy a dog crate, they think of us. They don't have to buy us, but they think of us. And I would love that opportunity to do that, to be that dog crate for people.
I love that. What is the absolute favorite part of the company? Whether it's the e-commerce end of it, the manufacturing end of it, if you could pick one thing that's your favorite part of the company, what would that be?
Definitely one of the favorite parts for me and is my friends and the people who work here. Long time ago, when it was really just me and my dad, and then a lot of great people who were working here and still do. I was the youngest one here by 10, 20 years, and I didn't have a lot of people to relate to.
Nothing in common.
Nothing in common. I wanted to work 15 hours a day. They wanted to work 8.
Clock in and out.
Exactly. And so me and my dad talked about, I was like, I'd love to hire my friend Justin, who you guys...
He'll be on here.
Yep, he'll be on here. He was the first one. I was like, I'd love to hire one of my best friends from high school, talk to him every day, every week. Finally got him to quit college and come here and work for us. And then that was huge. I was like, oh, cool. I get to work around my friends. He, works harder than everybody. Same with you. I mean, I'm lucky to say the friends that I've been able to hire are phenomenal. It's incredible to then be surrounded by the same level of intensity that I want to be at and that everybody else wants to be at. And then we can laugh, have fun, tease each other, but still get things done at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And hopefully everybody enjoys it.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy to see how it's worked out. Because I know, having the first conversation with you and Michael at Dakota.
Yep.
He's basically like, hey, this will go one of two ways. It'll work really well, or you guys are going to end up freaking hating each other.
Exactly.
So are you guys willing to take that risk? And, obviously we were, but that's cool to see. So it's really for you, it's the people and the environment and the atmosphere that you've been able to help create. And, obviously your dad's been welcoming of as well over the past few years.
Definitely. Yeah. And then to everybody else, like I'm not perfect, but being able to be around everybody and then be so uplifting and so positive and not be so negative, and know that it's a process, and know that things don't happen right, and know that there's uncomfortable times and situations that we have to get through, but at the same time we all want the same thing, which is really, really rare and really, really cool.
Yeah, we're all working towards the same goal together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I want to ask you, what's day-to-day work look like for you?
Wake up like 9 p.m. No, I'm kidding. No, so now my life's changed a bit. I have a fiance that I have now. Been with her for 2 years, but so I'll wake up around 6:30, 7. If she's not working, she'll make me breakfast, which is amazing.
That's nice.
So I'll get I'm pretty basic, so I like fried eggs and some fruit.
Okay.
Maybe some bacon, but that's what she'll do that for me, which is amazing. And then in the wintertime, I'll take Mr. Pumpkin Boy to work. He'll hang out with me for the day, but then once I get to work, it's kind of, what are we doing? What's the goal? How's the website? How are the ads? How are things going? What can we tweak? Jake Pereira, who you guys will meet as well, is a really big part in helping me stay focused in things that need to get done. Because
I think he helps everybody stay focused and
absolutely
making sure that everything that needs to get done gets done.
100%. And so that's really nice to have him. And it's just really, what are our goals, without revealing too much? What are our goals and what are we trying to hit?
Yeah.
And then what do we do to then hit them?
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but it's really not. But that's in a simple way.
Yeah, whether it's even just small daily goals, weekly goals, monthly.
Exactly.
Obviously we have quarter goals and yearly goals as well, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Taking a bit of a wild guess and have a little fun with this one. If your dad hadn't have had a business, like you mentioned in the beginning, you kind of got in trouble.
I got so lucky.
All that good stuff. Where do you think you'd be and what do you think you'd be doing as far as career-wise goes if your dad, say he had just a typical run-of-the-mill job in a sense, where do you think you'd be?
I was very lucky to be blessed with a mindset like I have and like my father. And so if I didn't have that mindset, I think I would still hopefully be doing something that I loved, but it would not be here. Who knows if I would have stayed in Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah.
At one point, right as I got out of high school, me, Justin, and another buddy were like, "Oh, let's move to Hawaii." Glad I didn't do that, but that would have been fun.
Yeah, would have been fun for sure.
So I think, all in all, I would have. Who knows if I would have sold Kendamas back in high school? There's a lot of things.
That's true, because like you said, you didn't really have that mindset.
Exactly.
Or you got that mindset from him is a better way to put that. But knowing that, I mean, that could have changed even that small portion of it.
I may have got really good grades and went to college.
I mean, you never know, that could have happened. Kind of wrapping things up here. What is one question you wish I would have asked, and how would you have answered it?
I think one question that I bet everybody's dying to know is like, who's the owner? What do they do? Do they even have dogs? All the stuff. What happens? And we've been really, really personal with our lives and social media and things like that, and tried to be very private. And so, I think to really be able to say that when I got Hermes, he's not being very nice right now, but
still a puppy. Not even a year old yet.
I've had a few dogs in my life, but I never had one that was mine.
That's
and
fair.
So once he came into my life and Alex's life, my fiance, it changed everything. I mean, I look at this little guy and I just love him to death. I mean, it's insane. And so I think that's helped me a ton learn and grow as a human and a person and somebody who's trying to, build a dog brand and know that connection. And I think I was missing that for a long time because I was young. I didn't think I could manage a dog. I didn't think I was responsible enough. I can barely feed myself. I'm like, how do I do all of these things? A lot of unknown, and
it is a lot of responsibility.
Like I worry about, like when he was a when he was a puppy, he was on our couch. It was like 9:00 at night, and I think his shoulder popped or something, and he did this big old yelp and like was limping, and I was freaked out. I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
how do I make him feel good? Like, did he hurt? Like, me and Alex were feeling his arms and legs, and like,
just trying to see if anything felt out of place or anything.
Okay, this arm feel, or this leg feels like this leg. Okay, the elbows feel normal. Like, they feel weird, but they feel normal.
Yeah.
And so luckily I was able to call Ed, one of the guys that has helped us with dogs and stuff like that. Called him and got a lot of advice from him, and he's helped me out a lot. But to get just the comfort of like, he's fine.
Yeah.
That, but I was worried. I still am. I'm like, dude, I don't want you to, lick somebody else's dog bowl, because I don't want you to get sick.
Yeah.
So I understand that now, and I think that's a big thing that I personally was missing.
Yeah. And it's what's cool to hear that is you can take that now and like you said, basically like fine tuning the website and really personalizing it and things like that. It's like you can take that actual emotion and that feeling now and put that into your work. I think it's a huge difference.
Definitely.
See, look, I told you my goal was to learn something. There we go. Before we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just incredibly grateful. I mean, this has been amazing. I just can't thank everybody here enough. All of our customers, everybody who believes in us and has been there for us. It's been a long and hard journey. And I think the one person that I owe everything to in my life is my father. Without him, without his tough lessons, I would not be here. I would not be who I am today. I'm so lucky to have a dad like that. I really am.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I'm sure he'll love to hear that too, because it might be the first time he's heard it. But
he'll probably give me crap for it.
He probably will, yeah. All right, everyone. Well, there you have it. Hunter Bailey, the CEO. We hope you like this podcast. This is our second one, and we're obviously still super new at this, so please share your comments below. We're happy to have the positive ones or the negative ones. We'd like the engagement. Hopefully we have more to come soon. Lastly, remember, this show is brought to you by ImpactDogCrates.com. The only dog crate that does not suck and is guaranteed to last a lifetime.
And Hermes says thank you.
Hermes says thank you.
Bye.